So I think we've talked about this as a church family in some of our leadership training, but Paul Miller, this is where I got it from, a guy named Paul Miller who writes a book called The J Curve. And in this J Curve is what I've sort of shared with you guys. I was able to learn it from him before he wrote the book. But now you can actually get the book and he does a better job at explaining it. But in a graph, if you can just picture a graph, it would be like a starting point and then it would go down and then it would come up to a finishing point. So it looks like a J to me. To you, I don't know what that looks like. A Q, the back end of a Q. But for me, it's a J. Death, down into burial, the lowest point of the sin and suffering and whatever else we're going through, shame and all of that, hurt. Death, I experience something that feels traumatic. I experience something that feels like a death to me, a genuine sorrow. And I go through that. And then at the end, God resurrects me. Whether I die, go to heaven, live with him forever, or if he delivers me from that and I find what he was doing in my life and we make it through, there's a resurrection moment there. So it just sort of goes in a J-curve pattern like that. All right, so I'm explaining that to you because of this. As we go through life, we experience over and over again what is a pattern that I would just call the death, the burial, and the resurrection. When someone mouths off to you, whether it's someone in your home or someone at work or someone on the streets, as you're driving to work or whatever, when someone mouths off to you, you have an option in that moment to say, Lord, I receive this as like a death to me. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna think about this for a second. You don't always have minutes to think, but as you process this, you think, okay, Lord, I'm gonna sit in this, really think about it, and then I'm gonna respond in line with you so that I see resurrection power happening in my life. So I die to myself. I let my mind be renewed or transformed. That's what happens in the burial process. You decay. You become something other than what you were. I'm gonna die to self. I'm gonna decay. I'm gonna let myself be transformed by the renewing of my mind, and then I'm going to live in the power of the Spirit. If we did that, I'm telling you, the times I've done that, I've made much better decisions. But the knee-jerk reaction to death is to respond with, more death. You were mean to me, I'm mean to you. You hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you. You ignore me, I'm gonna ignore you. Well, those are just examples, relationally, of how that plays itself out. But if I submit to what I'm feeling, die to myself, and I ask the Lord to renew my thinking, help me to think differently about this. Help me to think like you think about this. What do you say about this? What would you want from me in this? Then I make better decisions as I walk through that, decisions that are in line with the heart of God. And in the end, I have a better chance at actually seeing real resurrection power manifesting itself in my relationships, manifesting itself in my life in different ways. That's an exercise that I'm gonna challenge you to do as well.